couple months from now. Download it now because we're getting ready to switch off some of those free price tags on our website here pretty soon. So I'll post the link in the description here in the chat in just a second. But yeah, I encourage people to download that now. Now that we're finished with the Be Strong series, we're getting ready to work on our next series called Be Kind. I think we can all agree that our world needs more kindness right now. So I'm really excited, and I guess I can announce this here maybe for the first time, that we're going to be partnering with Bronwyn, and she's going to be guest teaching on that series for us, the Be Kind series. So we'll begin working on that probably later this week on the graphic side, and working with Bronwyn on the lesson side of things next week. So excited about that.
Very cool. Wow. So see, that was worth your price of admission, people. You got a brand new announcement plus the tip to download curriculum now while it's still free. So there you go. Awesome. Well, I look forward to that. All right. Who else has anything to share with either what's going on in your neck of the woods, or maybe something new you're trying right now? And I'm laughing because Catherine and I are bouncing host responsibilities back and forth. So who knows if this is getting recorded right now. All right, Catherine, I am recording. I started recording when you got kicked off. So.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, and Ryan has posted the link for the curriculum in the chat. So we'll make sure to get that posted on when we post this recording as well. Thank you, Ryan. All right. All right, where were we? Yes, go ahead. Heather.
Hi.
Hi.
So I think I got the idea from here several weeks back about delivering meals to families. And what I came up with was something called RACT, which is not new to most people that do acts of kindness. But what we did was random acts of quarantine kindness. And the month of June was amazing. I know we're still in June, but we've wrapped up. We do this every Thursday. And the great thing about it is that we sent a survey out to families so that we were conscious of anything with allergies and preferences. We gave them choices of 3 different go-to meals for their Friday night drive-through, or a delivery type service. And our volunteers were actually, there have been some talk about keeping them engaged and everything during this time. And so we were able to ask the volunteers to partner with us on this. And if they had a specific sidekick, which is what we call a buddy, if they had a sidekick or a small group leader, we asked that they be involved. And we didn't have one person say no. Everybody said that they would love to do that. And our intention was to provide the meal. Our ministry paid for the meal, and then we would have them as volunteers go by, pick it up, and then deliver it to their home. It was supposed to just be a porch drop off. That was all it was supposed to be. And every family that participated with every volunteer was encouraged to come in and stay, to sit around the table. And even if parents had to reheat to eat their food later, the parents were the ones that just had the most praise for what was happening. They wanted that personal touch. And the great thing about it is that some of these kids, you know, Zoom and things like that work well for typical kids, but the kids that we have in our ministry directly are kids that if they don't see you in your particular environment, then sometimes it doesn't connect. So the good thing about it was we had volunteers that said they had to fight back tears because their kids are the actual sidekicks to these kids that have special needs, and they were so overcome with the emotion that they could not believe that a volunteer would actually come and come to their home. It was the first time for a lot of them that they had ever done anything like this. So it was really stepping outside their comfort zone in dealing with families that are not in your typical friend group. And so we've never done any kind of visits at home unless there was a tragedy, quite honestly. And so it was a great time to be able to, I got to witness a lot of those, but the volunteers really took it and ran with it. So my responsibility was just to order the meals and tell them what time to pick it up, and they went from there. So thank you for whoever who made that suggestion. I made a flyer that that told them why they were being racked, and it's been amazing. So we are going to step outside of kids ministry this coming month, and we're going to do Sundays. And so on every Sunday afternoon in July, we will be choosing a family, and that family will be the recipient of a cooler with ice cream and sprinkles, or jimmies, whatever you want to call them, and cones, and hopefully we'll be able to bless some more families. So
that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Heather. So I love this for so many reasons. I love it because you're really thinking outside the box. You're thinking outside the walls of the church, and you're really meeting people literally where they are. I love that you're involving volunteers. Clearly that's keeping them engaged. They want to serve, and that's amazing. Remind me where you're located.
we're in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay. All right. So it helps me kind of picture like what's going on in what area of the country. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, Al.
Hi, Al. I'm part of Liquid Church in New Jersey. We're a multi-site 7-campus ministry. We're a long way from gathering together as a church. They've done a survey recently, but we're a long way, I would say. We don't know, it's been tough for seniors in high school this year, missing graduations and stuff. Liquid did a really cool thing last night for high school students, for seniors. They had a parade on our main campus, Parsippany. They have the seniors come, wear their robes and caps, and decorate their cars. And they drove around the campus. There were quite a few people there, parents and others. We parked every other space to cheer them on, and they were all the campus pastors were there and other leaders cheering them on and giving them stuff. So it was a really good way to mark their graduation. My son was thrilled to go through that, and all the other seniors looked very happy too. They hadn't seen each other at least 4 months, a lot of them too. So it was a big thrill just to see each other again. So I could see you could also do those special needs families doing a similar type of parade, I think, if you have a campus to do that and cheer them on and things like that. So it was a really good gathering event and a way to really mark the end of their high school career at Liquid Church.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, and actually some ministries are doing a very similar event. So I know a lot of you are familiar with Nathaniel's Hope, and they did their Make 'em Smile event a little differently this year. And there's a church in Northeast-ish Ohio that's doing a similar event where families will remain in their cars and drive through, but they're going to do like I think it's kind of like a carnival type thing. Instead of, outdoors in person, everybody will remain in their cars and drive through. So yes, yeah, Heather.
Hey, I wanted to tell Al something. It kind of brought the idea to me. We have several campuses as well, and our East Campus is actually doing something that, if it's a warm enough climate, something that you guys may be able to do too. And it would be cool for special needs families as well as our families that have typical kids. What they have done is they have created a drive-through here at Tybee. That's the beach that's closest to us. They have like a water Tybee. I can't remember what the festival is called. Do you remember what the festival is called? Is that the water cannons? Okay, so during our pirate festival at Tybee, they have like water balloons, water cannons, different things like that. And what they are asking families to do is to bring their water balloons and all of their water guns and buckets of water and things like that, and actually interact with the teams of church staff and volunteers, and they will throw water balloons at us from the car, And so that was one of the fun things that they've done for families. So
That is really thinking outside the box. Wow.
they're pretty cool. They are really cool over there. They have a lot of creativity and a lot of people that that really want to reach those kids. It's a little bit smaller campus, so they're able to do a little bit more. If we were to do something like that at our campus, it would be quite a lengthy parade. So,
Okay. Love it. All right, who else has something new going? Oh, I remember my question, but now I can't remember who brought it up. But do you remember, was it Allison that had the that actually drew on the parking lot? Do you guys remember that one? Yeah, I'm just curious how that, if they're still doing that. So they drew an obstacle course just right on the parking lot. I know I've told you all about our the weekly Bible Path Challenge that we're about to launch. That'll be on the outdoors, like the perimeter of our building. So that's going up this week, and so I'll figure out a way to show you guys next week. Or no, we're off next Monday the 12th, so, or whatever that next Monday.
Okay.
Okay. All right, what else do we have going on?
I'm just curious, we scholarship families to go to Johnny and Friends family retreats, and all three of our Texas retreats got canceled. We knew the June one was canceled, and we just last Thursday that the other two in July are canceled. Does anyone else work with Johnny and Friends on that?
Yeah, I know. Oh, they canceled Ohio's like months ago. And I know Texas, yours were on for a long time. So it's so sad. I would have been there actually this last week. I would have been at the one here. Yeah. Al is saying all the.
I talked with Johnny and Friends, and I think they canceled all their camps across the country when I was talking to the director in St. Louis this past week. So I think it's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, because I think Texas was one of the holdouts, and then it sounds like yours, yeah, California were canceled early on as well. Yeah, it's such a shame because that's such an important thing for families. So I know they are doing, or at least in Ohio, and I would imagine that most other regions are doing it, but Johnny and Friends is doing an online family retreat where families and volunteers do have to register, and it's I think it's over like a short period of time, and they'll be doing, it's all online based, Zoom based, but they'll be I think trying to really engage families and do some of the events that are so beloved by families, like the talent show. And for those of you who have been to family retreat, you know what I'm talking about. So I think they're trying to continue to give that community, that support, that encouragement without actually being in person, which, as we all know, is kind of tough to do, but we're trying, right?
I had a question I wanted to put out there. So, our church, for children and youth ministry in particular, we're trying to talk a lot about, race and justice and about all those things happening in the world. And I think for youth, we have a lot more inroads in connecting with people to talk about that. But, a lot of it is like our only option is virtual, or like it's parent led, like we could send things home, but it feels like a really hard topic to like talk about in this sort of format. And so I don't know, has anyone in their church like started a curriculum about that kind of thing, or talked about that kind of topic, with students and children and families, and how did you do that given all of the restrictions we have right now?
Yeah, I just saw a really great book, and I'm going to text my coworker and see if she'll bring it into me. So if anybody else wants to answer while I'm doing that, please do.
I'll answer that. This is Christy from California, and it's very interesting. I was wondering how I was going to deal with it, and because we're going through the Gospel Project, I think the Bible is going through it for us. We're doing all the miracles right now of Jesus, and I can't even tell you how applicable they are when you talk about a Samaritan woman, when you talk about someone who is blind, anybody that is marginalized. It's easy to incorporate those topics and incorporate what's happening. The level of ability that I have is high school down to probably second grade, so it's hard to do on Zoom. But it's been interesting because the parents have responded that it's gone really well. And so I would encourage you to look at the miracles and just look at it that way in a whole different perspective. It's been very applicable, and it wasn't even planned in that way to happen, but we've been able to talk about, because we're in the hub of unrest, because we're near San Francisco, Oakland,
Yeah, you're a little bit closer, yeah.
Yeah. So
Christy, it's so cool how God works like that. We are actually doing the Good Samaritan, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So I just love when that kind of all falls into place, a coincidence, right? Gives us those opportunities. This is the book that I just saw for the first time today. Has anybody seen this one before? Okay, so Trace has. I'll put the info in the chat, but it's written by Trillia Newbell, illustrated by Catalina Echeverry. But it's, I would say, probably elementary-ish. It's a little long for preschool, but I really liked it. So
I think we just bought that last week. That's good to know that you're also using it.
Yeah, I literally saw it for the first time today. So I'm not sure how. I know our elementary person is planning to use this. I'm not sure how, but anyway, wanted to throw it out there. Thank you. Catherine got it in there. God's very good idea. Anybody else want to share what they're doing? Yes, Trace.
We have a weekly story hour that's online, but lately it's taken a little bit more of an educational tone to it. And so we've been really choosing and curating the books that are being read, and then having these little breakout snippets of 1 week. We have a park named after Rosa Parks in our area that's really popular. And so I went and stood in front of her little statue and said, this is who she is, and here's her story, and here's why we honor her. And this week we've asked for families to send us videos of them dancing and lip syncing to, I forget which song it is, but it's a Motown song, and the story will kind of revolve around that. And they're splicing it all together to have all the different families dancing and singing along in this video. The kids ministry team just sent out packs of multiracial skin tone Crayolas, and then a bunch of coloring sheets to all the families. So just little fun things like that. Yeah.
Did anybody else participate in the? There was a webinar a couple weeks ago, and it was by. I think it was Group Publishing. Did anybody participate in that? Catherine, do you remember? I know I told you about it. Do you remember what it was? Because we could provide the link. I don't remember who did it. It was really good, and it did have some big time things to think about, and then some small easy things like the crayons that are all different shades. This is a little thing, but it's something we could all do. I use Boardmaker all the time. That's how I do all my Sunday morning materials. Well, I changed Jesus' skin tone. So now whenever I use, Jesus is a little darker than he used to be, which is more accurate. So that's just like a little thing that you can do. But I'll look for this. The webinar was really good. It was for children's ministry leaders, and it just gave you some great stuff to think about. So I'll try to find that. Anybody else have?
Another really good resource is
Yeah.
Right Now Media. We provide that free for all of our church members. And Phil Vischer does some awesome stuff. He has a, it's not really for kids, but it's an 18-minute video on racism, which is amazing. Phil Vischer created Veggie Tales and What's in the Bible and the Mr. Phil.
He is Bob the Tomato.
The very first Mr. Phil show of the first series that he did for Right Now Media is with Rosa Parks, and it's an awesome one. I actually went through that with on Zoom with our special needs families.
Great. All right. Anybody else? Bronwyn, are you still on there? I really appreciate you bringing this up. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. I had to pause for some dog
management.
But I was listening though. No, this is great. I'm glad that you're all sharing, because it seems like there's tons of resources out there, and in the absence of being physically face to face with our students, it is hard to know what's going to work and what might not work. And the older guys, it's easier because they have more access to. There's just more dialogue happening. But for the younger guys and the families, it's good to connect what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I like the crown idea. We were talking about ordering some more ministry supplies, and we found Crayola. I used to have it when I was teaching, and we was like, oh yeah, we could order a couple packs of, it's called People Colors or something like that. And it's just all kinds of different ones. So whenever we're back to coloring all together in person again, we'll have some of those.
All right. Catherine, can I put you on the spot to do a little plug for whatever Key Ministry has coming up? Because I know we have something good planned for this Wednesday. I know that one.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So we've got a webinar this week, and we've got a webinar next week that we hope you'll be able to join us for. This Wednesday, Beth and I are going to talk with Lisa Jameson, who is the executive director and founder of Walk Right In Ministries, which is in Minnesota. She has, a young adult special needs daughter. But Lisa's done a lot of really great things, and she's very focused on the importance of prayer. And so this week we're going to talk to her about growing in prayer, in your effectiveness as a prayer warrior, as a special needs parent. So, be sure to go to our events page to sign up for that. Then next week, we're not going to have Idea Share on Monday, because for a lot of folks, it may be a 3-day weekend or, a short week, what have you. But we will be meeting on Wednesday, the 8th, for a webinar. We'll be talking with Tori White from All Belong, which is an organization that works with schools to help develop programs to support special needs kids. They work a lot with Christian schools as well. Excuse me. But we're going to actually be talking about dementia and challenges that caregivers have had with supporting their family members who have dementia, with all the COVID restrictions. So that's a really important conversation. I don't necessarily think of mental health kinds of things as including dementia, but dementia is a brain-based disease. And so it really does fall under that umbrella of things that, that we as a ministry talk about. So again, go to our events page to sign up for either of those webinars. Prayer this week on July 1st, and then supporting caregivers and families with loved ones with dementia on Wednesday, July the 8th.
Thank you. All right, I did find the webinar that I told you I watched actually it was this month. It is through group publishing. So if you go to childrensministry.com, and it was called "It's Time to Talk About Race," and yeah, this was it. So I'm looking on my phone, so I'm not sure if you can watch. I'm sure you can watch the replay, but yeah, so it's Time to Talk About Race and childrensministry.com. Thank you, Catherine. Anyway, check that out. It was definitely worth the investment of time, I thought. All right, anybody else have ideas, questions, things that their ministry is doing? Doc?
I'll just throw out, since talking webinars,
Yep.
our Talk with Doc we're not doing one this weekend this Friday because of 4th of July, but the following Friday, July 10th, I'm excited about our next one. I think it's going to be important for any disability ministry. We're going to be talking on how to include visually impaired individuals in your ministry. And I think that's one area that frequently gets overlooked. No pun intended there on that, but it really does. And so I've got Judy Redlick, who's been blind since shortly after birth, as well as Carla Kearns, who has a son who's severely visually impaired. So we're going to be hearing both perspectives from a parent as well as from an individual who does disability advocate as well as ministry, running ministry. And so it'll be a great time to see how you can include them and realize it doesn't take a whole lot. You don't have to go purchase a ton of stuff. There's some great apps to help. And so that'll be a good way to do it. You can register for that by going to our website, soarspecialneeds.org, SOAR specialneeds.org. And that'll be on the 10th.
Awesome, thank you. All right, anybody else have resources that they want to tell us about, or? Yep, Meekins.
And it's always Julie.
I'm giving Tom the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm giving her the thoughts here.
So I participated in the Rising Above.
Yes. How did it go? I heard great things.
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was totally, and I've never been. Had anybody ever been to one of those? Nobody. So it is. Those people really know how to encourage special needs moms. Talking about Becky Davidson and her team have just, there was so much laughter and there was so much joy and lightheartedness, along with the identifying with your audience and knowing that there are people that are hurting and they've got all kinds of questions they don't have answered, and they're not going to get answered anytime soon probably. And what do you do with all that? How do you stay in your relationship with the Lord in doing that? But they are going to offer it, the whole thing on video or however they're going to do it, but it's going to be $20. So yeah, so I think it's worth churches having this to be able to share it with their special needs moms or grandparents, because it was just, you go into these things and you don't know, is it going to be worth the investment in time because you've never experienced it before, right? But I'll tell you what, it was the best Friday night and Saturday I've spent in a long time. So I think it's well worth looking into and sharing it with your moms.
That's great to know. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I saw a bunch of the media from it on social media, and it looked amazing. So I'm so glad to hear that. I'm glad they'll be making it available for churches, because maybe then we as churches can make that available once we can start meeting in person even. So great. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Well, have a great week. So again, we will not meet on Monday. We will meet the following Monday. We'll have a lot to talk about then. We hope that Texas gets out of jail by then, and that we all just kind of continue to maintain and hopefully, move towards reopening. So in the meantime, take care. Just God bless everybody and what you're working on, and just continuing to engage with families and your volunteers. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Beth and Catherine.